Sorry, I forgot my ring light. Hi. I first and foremost want to welcome everybody to another video of the Falcon and Winter Soldier spoiler review. I also want to show you guys that, or at least not show you, but surprise, finally got the extension cord that I needed for my camera so I can be looking straight ahead instead of off kilter. But yeah, it's something I've been waiting to look up. Excuse me. Something I've been waiting to do for a good minute. So I am I can't wait to get into it. This episode 2 is so meaty. There's so much to talk about, so much to discuss. At least a couple of things off the top of my head that I want to get through. But this episode, what's it called? The Star Spangled Man, I think it's called. Basically, we get a little bit into U.S. I'm not calling him Captain America. Like, F that. No. I feel like I'm disrespecting Chris Evans. No way. No. Not America's ass. No. But U.S. agent John Walker, I think it was his comic book name. He started out, just you get a little bit of him. He's a soldier in the U.S. military. He's in his locker room, questioning. You feel a little bit bad for him at first because you started to question. He started to question himself whether or not he's able to fit these shoes. But then decided, okay, I'm just going to be the Captain America I want to be, and or at least the best I can be, and I can try. And to some extent, I can respect that. But the thing is, I feel like I'm getting too bright. Yeah, it's still light out, so I don't think I need like the ring light. But yeah, I felt a little for him. Okay, so I figured like, okay, I'll come some slack because I was in there trashing him last episode because he did not look right. It's the chin around that strap and everything like that. It looks like Dollar General Captain America toy. Like your mom couldn't afford the expensive true Captain America toy you want, like everybody else that you know is gonna get, so she gave you the off-brand version because it was cheaper, and she thought it'll shut you up. That kind of thing, But anyway, of course, like Bucky, in his apartment, fuming over this situation, like, and then a little bit perturbed at Sam giving the shield away, and he's in his own little mindset. He doesn't understand Sam's side of things. But of course, through subsequent episodes in the future, we'll see, or at least they'll get right down to the nitty gritty of their own little personal issues that they're going through. And this is, it's a lot going on with Winter Soldier, of course, but there's so much, like, at least maybe in this episode, is because I think last episode is like more heavy-handed with the Winter Soldier and what Bucky's going through, while this episode is very heavy on Sam. I mean, like, they all have the equal parts, but like with old Winter Soldier's like issues and him trying to make amends, move on from his Winter Soldier past, that kind of thing, and then the old man that he's hanging out with, trying to be friends with, but he can't bring himself to say, in the past I killed your son who was just like innocent bystander and I was brainwashed. There's no way they'll make it any better. I mean, I don't even know how you come to a position to explain that to make it okay, because it's not going to be okay. But anyway, this episode, they still dealing with like the terrorist group the um the Flag Smashers, who were people who liked the world where it was, where before the blip, where people came back. And it was an interesting concept, because one of the things that Marvel MCU does so well is like make villains whose ideals that you can't say they're wrong in a way, because to their minds, like the most people in certain parts of the world who disappear are probably like dictators, or you know, people who's doing like god awful things. They're gone. Things was like, you know, they're able to finally bring the right people in power, the way things seem stable in their neck of the woods. While most people that we saw, like in like Far From Home, in like Endgame, and even some parts in WandaVision, that everybody's thrilled to get their loved ones back and friends and everybody else, but they never touched on, which I always had in my mind every once in a while. I was like, there's got to be some bad people that disappeared too that came back, and it's kind of like, what about those type of people? And this kind of answers that question, and it's like, it'd be kind of interesting. Like, you got displaced people, and most of them were in power and were like, let's say, Yugoslavia. Like, there's whoever was running things there disappeared, and it was for 5 years, and for all intents and purposes, nobody was coming back. Nobody, your average Joe, wasn't privy to what the Avengers was going to be doing. So once they came back, they wanted their original power back, but it's like, what are you gonna do? For 5 years, we had a new regime, and things are going more smoothly, or at least maybe to a lot of people, it was going more smoothly than the previous person who was in power, who wasn't probably doing much, or even was a dictator by all intents and purposes. So, I mean, that's an interesting thing, and I really want to see how that unfolds in upcoming weeks in future episodes, because that, and then you got like these, like a little handful of these uh people of the Flag Smashers that are essentially super soldiers. And of course, when Falcon and Bucky, eventually find out that what they're dealing with is like some super soldiers, they're trying to figure out, like, okay, all right, how is this even possible? For all intents and purposes, the only super soldiers from that original serum should have been Bucky and Cap. Everybody else was supposed to have been failed experiments, because they couldn't. Well, I want to say failed. And there was, like, in Civil War, when Zemo killed off those other extra super soldiers that was in those tanks. Technically, there was like at least a handful of successful people, not as up to par as maybe Captain America, and Bucky was probably like second right below him as like the closest as they got as like true super soldiers that were didn't die out or go insane or whatever the case may be. But Bucky was telling Sam, like, yeah, he knows a guy that he tangled with during his Winter Soldiers days, or like during like it looks like it might have been the Korean War area. So I don't know if that was in like in the 70s. I'm pretty sure it was the 70s or early 80s, something like that. And the guy they talked to, he did the voice for Martian Manhunter on the Justice League Unlimited show, and he was Martian Manhunter's father in Supergirl. So that's pretty cool. That's the only things I knew him from. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's been in other things, but those are the ones that stood out for me of where he's been. And I did see him in like a cameo, or at least like a short stint in God Friended Me TV show that I used to watch. But I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he's really good. He got this kind of gravitas, elegant voice for like an elderly black man. Is like he has that kind of voice. It's like buttery silk kind of voice, you know. Anyway, uh, uh, when they because like when you go to his house, the kid opened the door. I just found out just like a few minutes ago that that's supposed to be like in the comics. There's this like black bald kid. Don't know why he's bald when he's probably in his like 20s or something like that in the comics. But it's supposed to be Patriot, another like pseudo sidekick to Captain America in the comics. Uh, I don't know much of him in the comics, but it just reminded me that he is a thing. I've seen him here and there through my, whenever I read certain comics in the past, I recalled, like, a kid like that. It was like, cause I remember, cause he showed up in my walkthrough of well, technically, in the walkthrough of my uh, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 2, where he's like a cameo, Patriot. This little kid who's like I said, like some pseudo psychic to Captain America. He this black kid who, if you're playing like on the side of Iron Man, he is someone who you'll end up running into along that direction. You don't see him in, if you chose, because I chose Captain America's side, so I didn't run into him on that side of things. But you do into him on Iron Man side of things, and you probably fight him if I recall correctly. But yeah, he is a thing. So that's the kid who's opened up the door. So they easily, they Kevin Feige seeding the little young Avengers down the line. You already got like Kate Bishop, him, uh, Ant-Man's daughter. You got Riri Williams, Miss Marvel. Yeah, they're seeding the young Avengers. You're seeing them spotty here and there, but we catching up. It's like little by little they're showing us stuff, and then of course Wanda and Vision's children too. So like they're seeding this stuff very, very carefully, but it's pretty blatantly obvious. But anyway, they meet up with the guy. He, eyes Bucky up and down, not knowing if he's there to kill him or what, but he's still feeling like, some type of weight because of Bucky, like very on edge, and for good reason. And not even just because he is also like the part that not probably he is the first in the MCU, well, and in the comics, black super soldier, the first successful black super soldier. In the comics, he fought alongside the Allies during WW2, but in the MCU TV version, he fought in the Korean War. He went up against Bucky when he was still brainwashed, and he was the only one who managed to not take him down, but be able to somewhat stop him and damaged his arm in the process. So he was the only one besides maybe Captain America who was able to tangle with the Winter Soldier and make it out alive. So, but according to him, after that mission was done, when he came back to the States, he was immediately arrested, locked up for 30 years, and the whole time was experimented on. It's the same kind of thing with the Tuskegee experiments. It's so relevant now with the whole COVID vaccines and everything like that. And it's how, like, because I see like the look on Sam's face when he's hearing this little brief story, and this what he's expressing is what I'm feeling, and probably a lot of black people are feeling when if they're watching this episode. It breaks my heart. I can't imagine if Black Panther or Luke Cage was listening to this story, that there like according to like Sam, because he had like an outburst right outside the house. It's like, tell me like the government had like their first black super soldier, and you know what it would have meant for this country and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it would have meant a lot. And like the racist, people of that time, even in the 70s, you know, didn't want that. Obviously, didn't want that out there. Freaking like the populace, and like cause they would have probably thinking there's gonna be some kind of another civil war and with like black people versus white people kind of situation that like we got our own a superhero. We like it will cause all this kind of ruckus, and like they couldn't have that, so they locked him away until 30 years passed until they released him, and he's living in squalor. I mean, not squalor, but like just like barely what was like the middle tier, not poor, not middle class, like just barely middle class, uh, and like Bucky not seeing or understanding Sam's side of things because it's a white guy, especially a white guy who grew up in the 40s. Even though him and Cap were like the most progressive, Cap, Sharon, probably the most progressive individuals of that time, uh, still wouldn't understand where Sam's come from, and because he didn't want to bring it up, because for all intents and purposes, he didn't tell Cap that, and he didn't tell nobody else. He just figured like it's not gonna do to him. It didn't feel like it was gonna do more harm than good to his eyes, and he didn't want to. In his mind, he didn't want to cause more pain than was already inflicted. But he made it worse in this case. And then some cops rolled up, because this is Baltimore where they mean this guy in, and according like Baltimore, like DC, like does have like some issues with like crime, and like the cops and there is like wilding out. But then some cops pulled up on them because they seen like a white guy arguing with a black guy, and so of course they immediately go, and it's so topical. This is like they hitting those like themes really well, very well, and they rolling up to this these two, and like like is there a problem here, blah blah blah, and it's like they both saying like, no, I'm just talking to my friend, like, and then they go up to Sam like, let me see some ID. Of course Sam doesn't have his ID, and like before you even say he doesn't have his ID, and it's like Bucky is like, just show me your ID, man. This is like so because he just want to move on, this whole ordeal. He doesn't want to deal with this crap. But like Sam like, I'm not showing him my ID. Was like, and then like and then Bucky's like, do you know who this is? It's like, and it's like this man's a hero and all this, and then the cops had to take a second look. It's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, sir, and now sir. This is kind of definitely similar to how like black celebrities when they get stopped by cops, and it's like even if you're in a commercial, a handful of commercials, or like like a ball player or something like that, if you're somehow recognizable, they they let you go. It's like it's infuriating. No matter the circumstances, that's just still as insulting, because he, all intents and purposes, is like a celebrity in this universe because he helped save the world with the Avengers. But despite all that, they look at him as a black man first and a hero second. And when they finally, pulled up some information, they feel like, they realize, Bucky, the white guy, who has skipped out on his probation check-in for his therapist, so they have to put him on arrest. Which, by the way, in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's completely pointless because he can easily rip all those things and hop overall y'all without any muss, no fuss. But anyway, it's like, okay, you went straight to the black guy, and not realizing it was the white guy who has like some issue with his records. But it's just like the all that was like really hit home, especially in how topical it is right now currently, and what's going on with police brutality and uh, all this stuff that's been going on throughout, for the longest time. But it became even more expedited, or expedited, is that the right word? Where it just became more inflamed throughout 2020 since George Floyd's death. And it's just that all that is just like I said, hit home. The MC is really good at hitting these little things very well, and this is on Disney Plus. There's gonna be kids watching this, and that's good because they get to understand things. And I want to say it's subtle, but it really hammers home for kids, and they get to think. They get to understand. Okay, what's it like for a black man compared to a white man when they're just going down the street talking. And even if the conversation gets a little heated, but not like, fisticuffs or anything like that, if you depend on the neighborhood, the cops will just might stroll up on you, and they will immediately they're locked in on the black person compared to the white person, without any forethought on whether or not to ask the proper questions to get down to what is going on for real, just to assess the situation. They just immediately jump to blame for the black guy and just, eagerly to haul him in or worse, shoot him. But I thought that was very excellently well crafted, and it's not much TV shows that. It's only a handful of TV shows that like discuss on this matter, but something like on Disney Plus, and a Marvel show, no less. And this is not too long after we dealt with like WandaVision. The only thing she was dealing with as far as like grief. We get a lot of movies and TV shows dealing with grief, like there's plenty of them. I mean, like Coco deals with grief a little bit, and you got not Soul, but it's another Disney Pixar kind of thing that handles that kind of. There's a lot of those going on than just WandaVision, but only a handful of shows and movies actually deal with. I mean, like on like a relatively kid to teenage level of understanding, because other stuff is probably gonna be like geared towards like people who's like in their late teens on up, like with certain movies and TV shows. Like Blackish talked about this like a handful of times throughout its series run, but it's not necessarily something like little kids will probably be like paying attention to. Not necessarily, but this is like you will expect a lot of kids to be plopped down to watch Falcon Winter Soldier because there was an Avengers, so why not? But then they hit you with this kind of thing, this topical discussion that you wouldn't expect it, but they need to hear and they need to watch. So because their minds are like sponges at their age, so they soak this in to get some understanding. You might ask some questions, and it's up to responsible parents to fill in those kind of gaps, or at least if you're white, but you have some really cool close black friends that can fill in certain spots that they can better articulate than the white parents would. So that way, it's better for the child in his or her in that little that particular age when he or she is soaking up all kinds of information. But then afterwards, once they are in lockup, that U.S. agent, use his clout to get, Bucky out on bail. His psychiatrist showed up, and this is great. And the psychiatrist for Bucky is fantastic. She's like kind of a no nonsense kind of like psychiatrist, kind of like Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting. That kind of level that like I love. Psychiatrists like that. They're not like clueless or stupid or self-absorbed or assholes. They're like it felt like real people, and it's like they're not going to deal with any kind of lies or like they're not ignorant or oblivious to what's going on. They know exactly what's going on, so they don't feel like they being played stupid. So they she set it some time out for her, Sam, and Bucky to sit down for a minute to just have a chat, because like the psychology in this is just like really good, and because like I always had an interest in psychology, but when she just does these a couple of exercises, there's a little funny moments throughout this episode. One being in this moment when they're sitting there having like it wasn't a trailer, but they sitting there having like a staring contest, and it's like they're so childish, and then they get on each other's nerves so much that like it's just funny. But then like they sitting there scooting, like she asked him like, okay, get closer. I was like, we can't get any closer than this. It's like our knees are touching, and it's like, and then it's like a whole thing. It's like, okay, they interlock their legs at this point, but then like it gets serious again when like Bucky unloads to Sam's like, how could you give up that shield? He gave it to you for reasons. Like he, it meant something because he trusted you and he believed in you. And if you give it up, that means he was wrong, and he means wrong about you. He's also wrong about me, kind of thing. And it was like impactful. But Sam, I'm pretty sure you hearing this, but he had his reasons, which he didn't unload to Bucky. He just got up and left because like, I'm not hearing this. I'm not going to hear this because like I know what I did was right. At the time, I'm not regretting my choices, is because he have a heavy burden on his head. The fact that going on with the situation with the black super soldier they met, fearing that it's possible that he might be fearing like what they did to him. It's probably going to be no different from what they might do to him after he takes up the mantle of Captain America. There's no way, because that's what we all were expecting from the show when it was announced and him taking on the shields, like, and then U.S. Agent being announced. It's like they want to try to implement U.S. Agent because there's no way, like the government, whether knowingly or unknowingly, would not allow like a black Captain America. Is that's something they don't want like the public to see, or like they don't think it's like a right move, or whatever the case may be. It's still racist as fuck, but it just Sam doesn't want to be put down in that situation where excuse me, he looking at pretty much at his future, like spoiler alert, looking at his future, that he doesn't want to end up like, he's probably, at least I'm just surmising here, but to me, in my opinion, he's looking at that situation like, this is what will happen if I probably take up the mantle. I'm not going to be treated well at all, let alone accepted by the masses. I mean, they like me as Falcon as fine, perfectly fine, because like I'm just the black sidekick to the white guy, and they like me just enough to that level. I mean, they I don't know 100%, but I'm pretty sure they understand Black Panther, and they probably can accept him because like he's a king and of his own country. But if all is said and done, they probably won't even think, without all that guards and all the other stuff, they probably will just like you know, if he goes to like a UN summit or wherever, there might be some like, you know, you know, still some bit of, underhanded racism even he would have to deal with. So it's like it all goes around, whether blatantly or underhanded. It still comes at you. If you're a black guy or a black woman, every day you got to deal with that on your mind. That your interaction with certain white people will probably be met with some level of racism. I mean, obviously, you don't come at it like that on our minds all the time, but it's something that we have to like compartmentalize at least a little, at least shove it for a while. And if something like an interaction comes up, especially past year up until this point, where certain Karens run around hurling the N words willy nilly, it's like it's pretty much blatant right now. But it's still like something that we have to like. Okay, is this interaction with this complete white stranger? Is this gonna be another Karen situation, or am I gonna get this loan for this book? Like like with Sam last episode, trying to get a loan for like a just for a freaking boat, and it's like it's met with like just like just un just with zero care, zero understanding, and it's like without any kind of respect for what he's done for the world, let alone for the country, because he's like a U.S. military man. It's just like none of that matters. You still have to deal with this crap. Like I said earlier, they treat him like a black man first and a hero second, and it's just it's a crying shame. And I'm so eager to how they would like take this, where they will take that. But then they went outside, and like then this a-hole U.S. agent character. And by the way, his friend, I don't even know his name, but he had a stupid little sidekick name, Star Basher, Starbringer, something like that. And the first time, because it was on, they giving like Bucky and Falcon a ride to the airport after their first tussle with the Flags Masters, and he they were sitting getting a ride, and dude telling her his name, that stupid corny name, and then Bucky, this is funny as hell. Like Bucky, like let me out. I was like, that's my thought process too. I was like, oh my god, let me out. Like I'm not listening to any more of this crap. This is bunk. Like no, I'm not. No, I'm out. I can't. I listen to this. I'm surprised I listened to this long. No, and it is probably the one thing so far that Bucky and Sense like an agreement on. Because these two, U.S. agent and his little partner, is just like, okay, you're clearly getting a little full of yourself. Because in the comments, like U.S. agent, he's not a bad guy. Clearly, he's not gonna be a bad guy, but he's just an ass. And it's like that's gonna progress obviously when the episodes continue on. But then, since they couldn't exactly get the information they thought it was going to get, don't know. I mean, I know why they went out to him. I guess because now they have to go to find Zemo in his prison. I believe they said they had to go to Siberia. So we're going to see Zemo in episode 3, which I'm eager to see that exchange because we haven't seen him since Civil War. Did he get blipped out, or did he remain with everybody else? The way he was looking, he doesn't look like he gotten any older, so he might have been blipped out and then returned. But yeah, that's going to be very interesting because they tried to go to the Black Super Soldier, thought it would be easier to get information from him, I guess, about like, does he know anything? He had ran into these kind of people before, blah blah blah. But that was a bust. So now they got to go to the next best person who throughout the whole Civil War incident, looked all this up and did all this research and found the extra people in their little containers before he killed them. And so he probably knows something. So that is going to be a very interesting, episode. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, that was episode 2 or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So good. Definitely better than the last episode. I loved the first episode, but man, it's gonna be fantastic. And everything going on, because the whole blip incident with the terrorist group, and like I was seeing how that played out. Because I mean, they're not necessarily wrong, just like with Killmonger. It's not necessarily wrong, just wrong about how they're going about doing it, and how they get their hands on some super soldier serum and not die. That's gonna be something. And then Bucky and Sam's relation, because they have that lethal weapon dynamic duo kind of thing going on, and trying to come to some kind of understanding between the two of them. Because we all know like Sam's gonna pick up that mantle at the end of the episode. That's like gonna be a clear understanding. But the journey to that point is gonna be very interesting. And with Bucky, with the old man, and we don't know how or if he's gonna come clean about what he's done. See, because it'd be so easy just to like, if he comes clean, it'd be so easy for Bucky to say, explain everything, and the old man just just say like, I forgive you and all that other stuff, or just like, I forgive you but I can't be around you anymore kind of situation. I mean, that would probably be more realistic, that he'll be like I understand all your circumstances. I understand that you was brainwashed. I understand that you wasn't in full control of your body and you was controlled by Nazis essentially, but you still killed my son. And that's something that's just like, I can't, completely forgive you on, but I understand. And I can't be around you anymore. I don't want to part as enemies, but not, best of friends like we used to be. I can't. That would probably be more realistic, or they can just go the route of like, like, F you, get out of my face, never speak to me again. I can't believe you kept this from me kind of situation. Like, and you, what you do here? Just want to torture me some more? Just try to pretend to be my friend? Blah 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 blah. That kind of thing. I can see that going down too, because there's plenty of shows that done that too. I mean, I'll leave it to you guys. Leave a comment below and let me know, like, if Bucky comes clean with the old man, is he gonna go the route of completely forgiving him and still be friends, or forgiving him but not being friends no more, or just completely not forgiving him and not being friends? Like, which one of y'all, one of those options do y'all think will be more likely to happen by the end of the series? And I wonder if this is gonna be season 1, because I think WandaVision was just one season. No matter how good it was, it's not gonna. Cause we all expect it to be just be one season, just like this should be expected to be one season. Unless, I mean, this might possibly earn subsequent seasons, maybe. But this and Loki, like Loki and WandaVision seems like the kind of shows is probably going to need just one season, because just one and done seasons. I think I kind of prefer that. This, however, probably would be it's like a better version of Agents of Shield, to be honest with you. But I think it's probably warrant maybe like up to 3 seasons at the most, 2 or 3 seasons, because it's something that you can definitely do with these two, and like dealing with the government situation or whatever like that. But yeah, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And please share with your friends. And thank you all who have been recently subscribing, leaving comments, and all this other stuff. You guys are amazing. I will be posting another video up, hoping you all will join me. It's just something was suggested by one of my longtime viewers earlier this year, and I finally coming around to making this video about the death of characters in video games and their meaning. It's like something that I've been noodling around with, but yeah, something I'm really going to finally want to take a deep dive in finally. So join me around 7 p.m. Central Time if you want to hop into that. And I will see you all soon.